I think China and the United States have the luxury of looking back at the 20th century and seeing some colossal failures that occurred in the world. And I think as they continue to grow, and as we continue to grow, I think it's prudent that we learn from lessons that history has taught us. And there is a way for both China and the United States to grow together. And even as big as their military has become and their economy has grown, you've also already seen a lot of peaceful coexistence in the Pacific region and on the world stage, particularly when it comes to the economy with China. But there are some things that we need to do. First and foremost, the military side of that whole issue, we have to continue to posture ourselves. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you look at China and you ask yourselves, are they a threat? In military circles, we look at threat and we define that as, well, do they have the capability and do they have an intent? Well, they certainly have the capability. There's no doubt about that. But do they have the intent to be a threat to the United States? And that's really where the debate is. But whether they have the intent or not, the fact that they have the capability means that we have to continue to posture ourselves, keep a strong military presence in the Pacific region, and we need to continue to plan for the worst case scenario. If you've been following the news, you know that the Chinese recently developed the DF-21 anti-ship missile, 1,200-mile range, which can reach out and touch our carriers. Very, very dangerous. They recently unveiled their stealth fighter with Secretary Gates' visit. On top of that, there's talk of developing a strong carrier blue water navy, which is something that the Chinese have never had. And if you look back at history, you know that if you control the sea lanes of communication and the trade and commerce routes on the seas, that puts you in a very strong position globally. Also highly advanced technologies in nuclear warhead design, space systems, and anti-satellite technology. So these are all things that we worry about from a military perspective, and we need to keep ourselves postured properly for that threat.
The position is that we need to get off the imported fossil fuels that we get from these countries. The U.S. imports right now over 50% of our fossil fuels from countries like Venezuela, Canada's our friend, not so bad. Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Libya, all those countries that we're having problems with right now. And I think we need to start looking in-house as far as our electricity. Fossil fuels currently provide over 85% of the consumed energy in the U.S. Over 2/3 of our electricity comes from fossil fuels, and virtually all of our transportation. 20% of our electrical grids throughout the U.S. is supplied by nuclear power. Should we build more, to answer that first question, or should we keep the plants that we have? I think yes. I mean, I'm an advocate of nuclear power. Obviously, I've operated a nuclear power plant since for about the last 16 years, so I've embraced nuclear power, not a problem. But you look at the incidents in Japan, you look back on what happened in 1979, 3 Mile Island, back in 1986 in Chernobyl, some would say that nuclear power is not the way to go. I'd say in this country, we've kept nuclear power pretty safe.